Hello student, we are studying our MSc Second Physics semester 3rd course, that is Physics of Semiconductor Devices, and our subject code is PSCT 231. And in previous video we have started our 4th module, that is module 4th, metal and metal insulator semiconductor devices, and this module is for 1 credit. And in that module we have covered some introductory part, and also we have seen about the metal semiconductor contact. And generally there are two types of contact, that is a Schottky contact and ohmic contact. And in our previous video we have discussed about the energy band diagram of the metal and semiconductor. Now in this video we have to discuss the what happened when we brought a metal and semiconductor in contact with each other. That means how their Fermi energy levels are aligned, and how the barrier height is formed, and how the due to barrier height how the electron transfer or migrated from metal to semiconductor and semiconductor to metal. So all those things we have to discuss in this video. So let's start. Energy band diagram of an n-type semiconductor crystal and a metal. Let us consider an n-type semiconductor and a metal such that EFM is less than EFC, where EFM is the Fermi energy level of the metal and EFSC is the Fermi energy level of the semiconductor. As we already mentioned in our previous video, we will discuss about only the n-type semiconductor. Instead of p-type semiconductor, we can also use p-type semiconductor, but here we use n-type semiconductor and a metal, and we take these two materials such that the Fermi energy level of the metal is less than the Fermi energy level of the semiconductor. When the metal is contacted with the semiconductor, the Fermi levels align and thermodynamic equilibrium is established through the transfer of electrons from the semiconductor conduction band into metal, since EC is greater than EFM, where EC is the conduction band in the semiconductor material and EFM is the Fermi energy level of the metal. And we know that in a semiconductor there is a valence band and conduction band, and above the Fermi energy level we take a conduction band, and below the Fermi energy level we take a valence band in a n-type semiconductor. In n-type semiconductor, the Fermi energy lies near to the conduction band. So, and also we know that the Fermi energy of the metal lies below the Fermi energy of the semiconductor, n-type semiconductor, for n-type semiconductor. So, when we contacted a metal and semiconductor, there is alignment of the Fermi energy, and due to alignment of the Fermi energy there is a transfer of the electron from metal to semiconductor and semiconductor to metal, and due to that this process of transfer of electron takes place until the thermodynamic equilibrium condition is established. And we have in a metal semiconductor EC is greater than EFM, that is a conduction band lies above to the Fermi energy level of the metal. These electrons leaves behind positively charged donor impurity atom in the semiconductor. Due to the Fermi level of the semiconductor lies above the Fermi energy level of the metal, and since above the Fermi energy level there is a conduction band, so obviously the energy of the conduction band, the electrons which lies in the conduction band is larger than the electrons which lies in the which lies at the metal's Fermi energy level. So there is a transfer of electron from semiconductor to metal, and due to transfer of electron from semiconductor to metal, there is a creation of the hole due to deficiency of electrons. So the electrons leaves behind positive charge donor impurity atoms in the semiconductor, because from the semiconductor the electron flows towards the metal, and there is a creation of the positive charge, and due to that positive charge there is a formation of this phase charge region. Now in this figure there is a metal semiconductor energy diagram. As already we discussed this figure in our previous video, the left hand side is the energy level diagram for the metal and the right hand side is the energy level diagram for the semiconductor material. For metal, EFM is the Fermi energy level, and above that there is a vacuum level, and we know that the energy difference between the Fermi energy level and the vacuum level is nothing but the work function of that metal. So which is a Q phi m, which is shown in the figure. And for the semiconductor there is a valence band and conduction band, and in our case we take a n-type semiconductor material, and we know that n-type semiconductor material means there is a large number of electrons as compared to the p-type semiconductor, that is a majority charge carriers are the electron in n-type semiconductor material, and due to this the energy level in the semiconductor material in n-type semiconductor material lies towards the conduction band. So EFC is the Fermi energy level of the semiconductor, and also we have discussed about the electron affinity in our previous video, that is Q chi, and which is the energy difference between the conduction band in the semiconductor and the vacuum level, and Q phi sc is the work function of the semiconductor. Again it is a difference between the energy difference between the vacuum level and the Fermi energy of the semiconductor. So this is the band diagram of the metal and semiconductor. Now as already we mentioned, that is there is a formation of the positive charge in the semiconductor due to transfer of electron from the semiconductor to metal. Now due to that process there is a space charge region corresponding to the zone deflected of electrons is therefore formed in the semiconductor near the interface with the metal. That means due to that all this process, the transfers of electron and the creation of the hole due to deficiency of the electron, there is a formation of the space charge region at the interface of the metal and semiconductor. The width of this region is noted as, that is W naught. This is the deflection width, that is a space charge which is formed in the particular region, and there is a formation of the deflection region, and the width of that deflection region is the W naught. The metal is considered as a perfect conductor. Therefore there is a lot of electrons which are present in the metal, so we can take metal as a perfect conductor. A electron charge equal in magnitude to the deflection charge appears in the metal at the metal semiconductor interface. We know that the electron and holes are same, that is the mass of the electron and holes are same, that is a same in a magnitude but different in a direction. That is there is a positive charge on the hole and negative charge on the electron, so there is a formation of the deflection region. For all practical purposes this charge can be considered infinitely thin. That means for practical purpose we can consider this charge as much as thin. So such a charge distribution is often called as a charge sheet. That is due to we consider the thin, infinitely thin charge distribution, we can take it as a charge sheet like in electrodynamics. That means we can consider this all these charge region as a charge sheet. So we can take it as a for simplicity or for the practical purposes. Because of the alignment of the Fermi levels and the presence of the deflection region in the band curvature in the semiconductor is equal to, we know that we define the work function for the metal, work function for the semiconductor, also we define the electron affinity. Now here we have to again, due to alignment process of the Fermi energy levels, we have the deflection region, and this deflection region is given by QVI is equal to Q into phi m minus phi sc. We know that Q phi, that is the energy difference between the, there is an energy difference between the, or the there is a difference in the work function of the metal and semiconductor, and we know that the work function of the metal is greater than the work function of the semiconductor. So we can subtract the work function of the work function of the semiconductor from the metal, then we get the deflection region. That means where we get the deflection region due due to the transfer of electron. This corresponds to the potential barrier. So this energy difference acts as a potential barrier for the electrons which are present in the semiconductor and the electrons which are present in the metal, which prevents the further electrons from migrating into the metal. That means once the electron goes from the semiconductor to metal, there is a formation of the barrier, that is a deflection region which acts as a barrier, and due to that barrier which prevents further electrons from the migrating into the metal. That means there is no electron migration after formation of the barrier. Electrons in the metal, on the other hand, see a potential barrier having an amplitude equal to, that means the electrons which are present in the metal, they also experience that barrier, that is that potential, and the amplitude of that potential is equal to q phi b. That is, for the electrons which are lie in the metal, the barrier potential or barrier height is q phi b is equal to q into in bracket phi m minus chi, because as shown in the figure, there is a first diagram indicate the energy band diagram of an isolated metal and semiconductor. Just they are placed adjacent to each other, and the second diagram is the energy band of metal semiconductor contact in a thermal equilibrium. That means when we contacted the metal and semiconductor, then there is a transfer of electron from semiconductor to metal due to the high energy of the conduction band as compared to the Fermi level of the or Fermi energy of the metal. So there is alignment of the Fermi energy levels, and after alignment of the Fermi energy, there is a transfer of electron from semiconductor to metal, and there is a formation of the deflection region, and after that we get the equilibrium condition when there is a equal number of electron from the transfer of electron from semiconductor to the metal and metal to semiconductor. Then after that, when this rate is equal, then we get the thermodynamic equilibrium condition. So second figure is at the thermodynamic equilibrium. Now also again we have the same all those things as we discussed in our previous video and also in this video, the energy band diagram of the metal and semiconductor, same which is shown in the figure A, but in a figure B we have the alignment of the Fermi energy level. That is, there is some factors are introduced. There is a formation of the barrier height, and the barrier height which is shown in the figure, that is a q phi b, and which is the barrier height for the electrons which are lies in the metal, equal to q into phi m minus chi. We know that q phi m is the work function of the metal, right, and q chi is nothing but the electron affinity, and we know that the electron affinity is the energy difference between the vacuum level and the conduction band, right, or conduction band energy level. So this is the difference between. Now we have to write the barrier height for the electrons which are present in the metal. So we can subtract the electron affinity from the work function of the metal, so we get the barrier height. Now the deflection region, also the deflection region we define in this equation, that is in previous equation, which is also shown in the figure, that is a q vbi is equal to q into phi m minus phi s. So this is the barrier height, or sorry, barrier height, not barrier height, this is the deflection region, that is it is a subtraction of the work function, that is a q phi s, that is for the electron which are at the conduction band. So that is a work function for the electron which has the conduction band, that is the energy difference between the q phi m, or the deflection region is a subtraction of the q phi m and q phi s, right. So this is the deflection region which is shown in the figure. Now these all are about the thermodynamic equilibrium, all are satisfied at the thermodynamic equilibrium. Now at a room temperature, these potential barriers are significantly larger, previous one. Electrons in the metal, on the other hand, see a potential barrier having an amplitude equal to q phi m minus chi, which is also discussed, is equal to, we can write this as a q vi plus ec minus ef, right? Q phi m, for the q phi m we can write, for the q phi m, that is a total length, total work function of the metal. For the q phi m we can write as a q phi bi, right? Q vbi. And for the q chi we can write, q chi is nothing but the electron affinity, and for the q chi in a semiconductor we can write ec minus or ec plus ef, that is a total length of that ec minus ef, that is a, when we subtract the Fermi energy level from the conduction band energy level, then we get the q chi. So we can write this equation as like this. At a room temperature, these potential barriers are significantly larger than the kT by q, and only few electrons possess sufficient energy to overcome them. That means to overcome this potential, some of the electrons are able, but not all electrons. So at room temperature, this potential barrier are significantly larger than the kT by q. So all these things happen due to that. Now the current resulting from electrons from the semiconductor overcoming the barrier and migrating into the metal. That means we know that the electrons goes from semiconductor to metal, and due to that some of the electrons satisfies this condition, but due to the migration of the electron there is a flow of current. We know that when there is a motion of the electron, then there is a current, but we know that there is a flow of electron which is opposite to the flow of current, or the current flowing through the, or current is a flowing opposite to the direction of the flow of electron. So the when electron migrate from the semiconductor to metal, then there is a in opposite direction current, that is a current flows from the metal to semiconductor. This notation is due to fact of electron carry a negative charge, as already discussed. Therefore electron migrating from the semiconductor into metal corresponding to a positive current flow from the metal to semiconductor. That means due to migration of the electron from semiconductor to metal, there is a flow of current from metal to semiconductor, and which is a positive current flow from the metal into semiconductor. At a thermodynamic equilibrium and in absence of any external bias, the current, that is I, flows from metal to semiconductor is exactly balanced by the current of electrons flowing from the metal into semiconductor, and which is denoted I goes from semiconductor to metal. So for thermodynamic equilibrium we should have both these two currents should be equal, but they are in opposite direction. Their magnitude will be same, but the direction may be opposite. So for the, this is the condition for thermodynamic equilibrium. So we have at equilibrium I, the current flowing from the metal to semiconductor is equal to the, or negative of the current flowing from the semiconductor to metal. So this current is equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. Now this is the energy band diagram for the Schottky contact. We know that again same, when we contacted with the contacted metal with the semiconductor, then there is alignment of the energy, Fermi energy level, which is also shown in here, but the additional term is a, which is shown in the here, that is a QVI. QVI is nothing but the barrier height, as already we discussed. QVI, that is a formation of the barrier or the deflection region, that is a QVI is equal to Q into phi m minus phi SC. So this is the QVI which is shown in the figure, that is a barrier height, and Q chi is nothing but the electron affinity. Again EC is the conduction band energy level, EF is a Fermi energy level for the semiconductor, E is a valence band, and W, the W is the deflection width, that is the deflection region from at the metal semiconductor interface. Again for the metal there is a Fermi energy level, and again for the metal there is a work function, that is a Q phi m, and Q phi b is the barrier height for the electrons which are lies in the metal. So this is the Q phi b. So these are the two barriers, that is a QVI and Q phi b. QVI for the electrons which lie in the semiconductor, and Q phi b for the electrons which lie in the metal. So this is the energy band diagram of the Schottky contact. Now this is all about when we not able to apply any, or we are not applying any external bias. But what happen when we apply external bias? So let's see. First we apply forward bias, and after that we can apply the reverse bias. So first see for the forward bias. If a forward bias VA, which is a positive obviously, is applied to the structure, that is a plus on the, or the positive on the metal side and negative on the semiconductor side, the potential barrier on the semiconductor side decreases from Vi to Vi minus Va as shown in the figure when we apply external voltage. And if we apply positive on the metal side and negative on the semiconductor side, then there is a decrease in the potential barrier on the semiconductor side, and which is decreases from Vi to Vi minus Va. So a great tree number of electrons can therefore flow from the semiconductor into metal. Due to application of the external voltage or external bias, there is a decrease in barrier height, and due to decrease in barrier height, the electron can easily flow from the semiconductor into the metal. On the other hand, the flow of electron from the metal into semiconductor, that is the corresponding current is ISM, remains constant because the potential barrier seen from the metal side phi b is unchanged. Now let's see very seriously, that is when we take the forward bias, right? If we take forward bias, then we can apply positive for the metal side and negative on the semiconductor side, and due to all this there is a decrease in the barrier height, and due to decrease in barrier height, electron can easily flow from semiconductor to metal, and due to flow of electron there is a current, and the generated current having opposite direction to the flow of electron. Here electron goes from semiconductor to metal, then current goes from the metal to semiconductor. So this current changes, but the current from semiconductor to metal, that is there is no transformation of the electron from the metal to semiconductor. So the current due to that electrons remains unchanged. So the current I goes from semiconductor to metal remains constant because barrier height for the electrons which are present in the metal side which is unchanged. So all this happen for the electrons which lies in the metals. As a result, a net current flow from the semiconductor into the metal observed. Due to the electrons which are present in the metal, the current remains constant. That is which current? The current goes from the semiconductor to metal, and due to that only there is only one current, that is the current which flow from the metal to semiconductor, and this current remains, or this is the net electron current which flow from the semiconductor into the metal, and this only current observed in the forward bias. Now if we apply reverse bias, that is for reverse bias, if a reverse bias is applied to the structure, that is a plus on the semiconductor side now and minus on the, that is a negative on the metal side, then what happen? In previous case the barrier height decreases, but in this case the barrier height increases, that is the potential barrier in the semiconductor increased from the Vi to Vi minus Va, and which is shown in the figure. As a result, the electron flow from the semiconductor into the metal, that is a current goes from to the metal to semiconductor, because current which having the direction opposite to the flow of electron is reduced, and while the current which flows from the semiconductor to metal remains unchanged. That is, in this case the barrier height increases, and due to barrier height increases there is a electron flow from semiconductor to metal again, right? So due to that there is a current, that is I, flows from to the metal to semiconductor gets reduced obviously, and due to the reduction in the current there is a small, due to reduction in the electron flow there is a small current, and on the other hand the current which flows from the semiconductor to metal remains unchanged. So as a result, small reverse current of electrons flowing from the metal into semiconductor is measured. So we can measure this current with the help of ammeter or any device which is used for the current measurement. We can use this small reverse current. The asymmetry between forward and reverse current flows mechanism create non-linear current voltage characteristics similar to the PN junction. We know that we get the asymmetry in between the forward and reverse bias. That is, in a forward bias we get the maximum current, and in reverse bias we get the reverse current, and which is in small quantity. So if we plot the current voltage characteristics for the forward and reverse bias, then we get the non-linear current voltage characteristics, and which is similar to the PN junction diode. So this is all about the forward bias and the reverse bias. Now we can analyze all those things with the help of electrostatics. So electrostatic analysis is the width of the deflection zone in a Schottky diode can be calculated using the Poisson's equation and the deflection approximation, and which is given by, that is, we know that there is a formation of the deflection region, and the width of this deflection region can be calculated with the help of Poisson's equation. That is a Poisson's equation which we used in electrodynamics, and we know that the Poisson's equation which is used in electrodynamics, which is given by, suppose we take generally del square psi is equal to minus rho by epsilon 0 in electrostatics or electrodynamics, where phi is the potential and del square is the operator. Here we take phi is the potential, rho is the charge density, epsilon is the constant. So we can write the Poisson equation d2 phi by dx square is equal to minus rho by epsilon s, which is given by, we know that the charge density is given by QND, which is equal to QND, that is a charge multiplied by number of electrons multiplied by charge density. So charge distribution density. So we get the total charge density. So we can write rho like a minus QND divided by epsilon s. Now after integrating we get the equation, that is a d phi by dx is equal to minus of QND divided by epsilon s into w minus x. We know that the integration of dx is nothing but the x, but here instead of x we have w minus x, where w is the depth of deflection layer under the applied voltage, that is a VA. We apply external bias for the diode, and there is a formation of the deflection region, and the width of that reflection region is nothing but the W. By using boundary condition we can obtain potential as. Now we can solve this problem as using a boundary condition, and again after integrating this equation we get, that is a phi is equal to minus of QND divided by 2 epsilon s into W minus x square. We know that the integration formula for x raised to n, that is a integration of x raised to n is equal to x raised to n plus 1 divided by n plus 1. According to that we get this term. We know that the potential barrier at x is equal to 0 on the semiconductor side, which is a phi is equal to Vi minus Va. That means at the metal semiconductor interface, that is at x is equal to 0, on the semiconductor side we have the barrier, that is a phi is equal to Vi minus Va, that is a barrier height minus the applied potential, that is a Va. So for the phi we can write Vi minus Va, and which is nothing but the, which is equal to minus of QND divided by 2 epsilon s into W square, and we here put x is equal to 0 because we consider this case at x is equal to 0. Now rearrange the equation and we get the equation for W. So W is equal to under root of 2 epsilon s divided by QND into Vi minus Va. So this is the required expression for the width of the deflection layer, that is W, in the side of heterojunction of metal semiconductor contact. Heterojunction means the junction which is formed between two different material, that is in a metal and semiconductor. So this is the deflection width which is formed between the metal semiconductor contact. Now also we know that the electric field is nothing but the which is a negative gradient of the potential, that is we can write simply in electrodynamics, that is E is equal to minus del V. So here we can write epsilon of x is equal to minus d phi by dx, and we know that the value of d phi by dx from previous equation, that is from this equation, that is a d phi by dx is equal to minus of q n d divided by epsilon s into w minus x. So we can write this for the epsilon s, that is for the electric field, that is a minus of q n d divided by epsilon s into w minus x. But all these consider we consider all those things at the interface, that is at x is equal to 0. So substitute x is equal to 0, then we get the equation, that is electric field at x is equal to 0, which is given by epsilon of 0 is equal to minus q n d divided by epsilon s into w. So this is the required expression for the electric field at the interface of the semiconductor and insulator. So from the electrostatic analysis we are able to find the deflection width, that is a w, and also we are able to find out the electric field which is at the interface of the semiconductor and insulator. So this is all about the metal semiconductor contact. So we discuss up to this how the metal semiconductor what happen when metal and semiconductor gets contact with each other, that is how the inner Fermi energy levels are aligned, how the electron transfer from metal to semiconductor or semiconductor to metal, and how the barrier height is formed. After that, how the thermodynamic equilibrium condition is established, and what happen when we apply external bias, that is when we apply forward bias and when we apply reverse bias, and all these analyzed with the help of electrostatic. So we have discussed about the electrostatics analysis, and from the electrostatic analysis we are able to find out the width of the deflection region, and also we are able to find out the electric field at the interface of the metal and semiconductor. So this is all about the metal semiconductor contact. Now in our next video we will start with the next topic, that is a Schottky effect. So in our next video we will continue with the Schottky effect.